Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Driven Wild. Today we are talking about how he don't got his ID and he at the crib. Doordash driver says customer threatened to slap him because he needed to scan his ID. So whenever you deliver an alcohol product or really any product that requires you to be over a certain age in order to be able to use it or consume it or whatever, we have to scan your ID. It's not something that's optional. We have to do it. And some customers don't like that. Some customers want to try to game the system and get around it. And in this case, threaten violence. So with that said, I want to go over what is being said in this article, how it actually is for this DoorDash driver, as well as other DoorDash drivers, customers, and everything in between. So with that said, let's get started. A DoorDash driver took to TikTok to detail a recent event involving a customer who threatened to slap him after not being able to produce his ID for a Chili's order that included alcohol. Why wouldn't you be able to produce your ID? What is going on to where you can't just bring out the ID? It's probably because they're under the age of 21, but they don't want to actually say that because then they have to bring back the order. The video comes from Houston-based creator Maliekr at Maliekr, who ensures viewers that a lot of S goes on here in Houston when he's door dashing. He describes the incident with a customer named Mika as an example of that. I'm going to leave his TikTok as well as his profile in the description so you could develop your own opinions on the subject. This isn't the first time Maliekr ended up actually going viral, by the way. Last week, there was a video where he was fulfilling a no-tip order and exposing some of the common behaviors that a no-tip customer would end up extenuating. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll leave that video in the description. Feel free to check it out. But it sounds like Houston is similar to here in South Florida, where there are a lot of customers that are trying to game the system on DoorDash, on UberEats, on Grubhub, and unfortunately, you could be on the receiving end of a lot of nonsense. Before beginning his tale about Mika, though, he took a brief departure into praising Chili's for allowing DoorDash drivers to pull up at curbside pickup area rather than going into the restaurant. He likens that experience to a crisp Sprite from McDonald's. Okay, well, first off, why doesn't my Chili's do that? Like, the Chili's around here, you have to go in, then they send you out, then they will eventually get to you. In this case, they could just pull up curbside at the pickup area and they could just hand it to you. I'm honestly slightly offended at that. Although I do like the analogy of a crisp Sprite from McDonald's. Like, that's a really cool analogy. Then he began his story in earnest, noting that the order included a margarita and DoorDash has regulations involving ID scanning before a DoorDasher can give alcohol to a customer. Okay, so to be absolutely clear, this is not just DoorDash. This is UberEats, Grubhub, Instacart. It doesn't matter what platform you're on. This is a federal thing for the most part, and you can end up getting arrested or even in a really tight spot if you end up handing it to a minor. DoorDash actually does have stings for this. All of the apps have stings for this. As the DoorDash website notes, regarding alcohol delivery to customers, you must verify the customer's identity by following the instructions in the Dasher app before you hand them an order containing alcohol. You cannot leave an order unattended or hand it to someone else who cannot produce a valid ID, even if they claim that the customer is inside and can't come to the door. Yeah, that's 100% accurate. In fact, I just had an Instacart order recently where I had to deliver a bottle of wine to a customer, and she tried to hand me one expired ID from her military unit, and while I respect the military, I can't do anything about that. Then she handed me her driver's license. Like, why wasn't she just trying to hand me her ID? Like, what's going on? Maliekr, cognizant of that rule, notes DoorDash effing sends you a notification right before you pull up to the house saying, like, yo, like, blah, blah, blah. Blah, 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 blah. So I pull him to, like, his house, and he puts leave at door. I love how customers think that that's okay. Like, we can actually do that. We have to check your ID. It's not like we can just magically not be able to do that because you say the password, leave at the door. We have to scan your ID. It's irresponsible for you to try to pull one over on us. He then says, I messaged him and I'm like, hey, Micah, you have alcohol and I have to verify your license, so I can't leave it at your door. So is that cool? I honestly wouldn't have even asked if that was cool or not. I would just say, I need to scan your ID. You gotta come to the door. That's it. Don't give him the thought of you can say, no, it's not cool. You just say, no, you gotta come. Let's go. Put some authority on that. While Micah conveyed that was cool, it soon became evident it was not. And this is going to be proof of that. Watch this. He should have just effing told me that it wasn't cool, because when I effing got there, BA didn't even have his goddamn ID, he reports. While Micah looked old enough, Maliekr notes that DoorDash requires an ID scan to move through the necessary steps in marking an order as delivered through the app. You see, that's why I was saying that you never ask if it's cool or not. You gotta come to the door, you gotta hand me your ID. Not like I can say no, it's that I need you to come to the door, give me your ID. If they feel like they're impositioning themselves, they're going to give you an attitude about it. But if it's clear that no, we gotta do it, it's that simple, they may be a little reluctant, but they'll understand. He then claims Micah told him, stop playing with me before I smack the S out of you. Oh, we getting violent. We about to throw some hands in this. Maliekr took umbrage at this, revealing that he was going to do Micah a solid and scan his own ID to get Micah over that hurdle. Oh, don't do that. Don't put your own account at risk. Please don't do that. You can end up getting really tripped up for that. But just because of that, man, Maliekr explains, I stepped on that margarita. So wait, you scanned your own ID and didn't even give it to him? Yo, that's bold. You might get deactivated for that, but that is bold. Maliekr concluded his tale by claiming, I'm a different kind of dasher, and inviting Micah to slap him, noting, please make my day, because I got all the time today. Maybe he is a different kind of dasher, because I would just be contacting support, making it clear that this customer made me feel unsafe, he threatened violence against me, everything. Commenters marveled at the tale, with one noting, this is just one reason I won't deliver alcohol. Because of freaking Micah. Alcohol orders can be really lucrative, but there's a lot more risk. Another expressed concerns for Maliek's proposed workaround, observing, don't scan nothing for them, because it could come back on you. Not to mention, if you did return the margarita to Chili's, you could end up getting an extra half pay for that. So you actually missed out on some money. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll leave in the description a video talking about return deliveries on DoorDash. I'll leave it in the description. Feel free to check it out. Others wondered about the lack of ID for an alleged adult, as one commenter remarked. How has he got his ID and he at his crib? There's a couple different reasons I can think of off the top of my head. Number one, ID is expired, yet he ordered anyway. Number two, it's not really for him. It's for somebody who's underage, but he's supposed to be representing that person. And number three, he looks old enough, but he isn't actually old enough. Some of these kids these days don't look like kids. From the way the ladies develop to the way men grow facial hair at the age of 12. It's insane. For others, though, the story offered a different kind of hope. Hold up, one commenter remarked. I can order alcohol through DoorDash. Guess 2023 is not the year I quit drinking. Is that the first people are hearing about this? I'm shocked that this is still a thing. Like, people don't know. You can get it through a lot of different apps now. This is my opinion. It's worth what you pay for it. And then you pay me. There you go. Now, regardless of how this dasher really handled it, the customer should not be threatening violence under any circumstances. Do I think that the customer is trying to get away with something? Probably. Is there a chance that there was actually just a reason to where either couldn't find his ID or something else entirely? It could be, but I sincerely doubt it. It seems like the customer is trying to get away with something, and the driver, it's not like he couldn't have it, it's that he just couldn't do anything about it. He had to scan his ID. Do I think he handled it perfectly? Absolutely not. I wouldn't say, is that cool? I would have been authoritative on the subject. I wouldn't have stepped on his alcohol. I would have returned it and got extra pay for that. But to each their own. I don't disagree with this sentiment. I don't disagree with how he feels about it. I just don't think that it makes sense to miss out on extra money because you wanted to make a point. If you deliver alcohol, make sure that you're following the necessary steps and don't scan anybody else's ID other than the customers, because that's on your head at the end of the day. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. As always, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace!